Hey guys, it's Nicole Eaton with the Rock Your Soul book and podcast, where we talk about how to hack your mindset, grow your intuition, and live your best life. So during a session the other day, I had a really interesting question brought to me by one of my clients, and she asked me, can I manifest during a pandemic? Is this even possible? Because I'm looking around and everything I'm seeing is scarcity. And I'm seeing that there's no basic essentials, and there's no meat when I go to the meat section. There's no toilet paper when I go to the toilet paper section. And my, dear friends and family are losing their jobs or are out of work or don't know how they're going to eat or pay for their rent next month. And we don't know how long this is going to last. So, how can I manifest when everything tangibly in front of me is missing or isn't, is scarce, is hard to find? And I had to think about this one for a minute because it is a little hard right now to believe that there's a higher power. It's a little hard right now to look at the world and the chaos in the world and the people who are risking their lives and the people whose lives are being taken, and to really feel like hopeful and excited. And also there's this collective energy right now that is really low. Our collective energy as a whole is a little sad. And you might actually, if you're empathic, if you're somebody who feels into energy, you might actually wake up feeling sad or anxious. I talked about this in my last podcast, how to thrive during a quarantine. So you can check that podcast out. But the collective energy is a little challenging right now. But the resounding answer is yes. Yes, you can manifest during a quarantine. You can manifest during a pandemic. You can manifest even when the world looks like it's maybe falling apart. And I would say you kind of have to, because there's two choices in any phase of life. It doesn't have to just be during a pandemic and we're all, going to shit. There are always two choices that you have. You can feed fear or you can feed faith. So if you think about, what am I feeding right now? What am I putting my mental focus into? Am I putting a lot of mental focus into being afraid? Am I seeing all the articles online that are, talking about the tragedies and talking about the deaths and the, scary stuff? Am I feeding that energy within myself? Because if you think about protecting your peace, if you think about, how do I protect my peace? How am I being intentional about feeding myself a balance of these things? You can be informed without feeding your fear. You can be informed without, I always say that the things that are important will find you, whether you look for them or not. They will find you. The things that you specifically need to know about right now will absolutely find you if you need to know about it. So thinking about, how am I going to be intentional with my day? How am I going to feed my faith? And maybe that starts with something as simple as grabbing a book that feels good, listening to a podcast that feels good. Feeding your faith is about raising your energy back up to where it's manageable for you, because the other option is to sit and worry all day. And that's not doing anything productive or helpful for the world, for the people who are hurting, for anybody in your life. So it's not doing anything productive for you and who you're going to be when you come out of this. So if you think about, what am I feeding into right now? How am I managing my energy? Am I managing my energy by freaking out or looking at all the things that are scarce? What about all the things that aren't? What about I have to tell you a funny story. So I'm a big meat eater. I know, judge me, but I'm a big meat eater. It is a very important part of my diet and my family's diet. And so when I went to the store and there was absolutely no meat, like, anywhere to be found for weeks on end, I'm like, oh, like, what do I do with this? Well, I saw that this butcher shop was having a, they had like a bunch of meat, and they were like, we're open at 10, it's first come, first serve. They had a bunch of chicken and steak and pork and all of that stuff. So I go to get this. I was like, oh, great, and I go, and of course I'm late because I am just kind of one of those people who's a little bit late for things. And we arrive and we're in line, and the line was so long by the time I got there that everything that I would have purchased is gone. And I'm highly allergic to seafood. So they also had a bunch of seafood, but that's not something that I could have purchased because, well, a shellfish allergy. But so we get up to the front and I'm like, oh, I feel weird not buying anything because we waited in line so long. So I'm like, we'll grab some of that sausage. Sausage is good. And we get it home and realize we bought alligator sausage, guys. I bought alligator sausage. Which was so freaking funny. And it's just one of those things. I haven't cooked it yet because I'm just not in a mental prepared place. But one of those things that I kept coming back to is setting the intention like, man, I'm excited to have chicken again. I just kept saying that. I'm excited to have that in my, fridge and freezer because I was out of town prior to everything happening. So I wasn't home to get groceries and stuff prior to everything getting shut down. So I kept thinking I'm just so excited for the day that is a thing. And I went to Walmart the other day for something totally different. I was just making the kids Sunday. So I went and got some ice cream and I was like, I'll check out while I'm here. And I don't know if I manifested it. I think just my light energy around it. But there was just so much chicken and meat. And there was so much toilet paper. I actually got some toilet paper. I know this is really funny to be so excited about. But part of your intention and part of your energy can go towards the things you're going to look forward to, the things that you are excited to have back in your life. And you don't have to put the energy. Do you see how there's a difference between the energy of missing and lack versus the energy of excited to possess something again or to have something again? This is your choices. Again, every time you have a thought, it feeds an emotion. And every time you feed an emotion, it intensifies more thoughts that are similar. So the thoughts lead to the emotions, which lead to the more thoughts, which often lead to deeper emotions and then an action usually. So, right now we're kind of in a weird time period, in a weird space, but you absolutely can still manifest. You can still manifest things to stumble across. Or wouldn't it be nice if I went to the store this afternoon and they had the things I was looking for? Or wouldn't it be nice if, I got a check in the mail from somebody who forgot to pay me for, a couple sessions months ago? There is still happy surprises happening. And I'm not, I really do feel intuitively, I feel like this pandemic is essential. And I know that's harsh because there are people who are, in really tough spaces right now and really dangerous spaces right now and in really grieving spaces right now. But I do feel like there is a lot of intention behind this. And I've been calling it a reset, just an earth reset. And again, I'm not minimizing what it is and the intensity of it and the harsh impact of it. I'm not. But again, we have two choices of how we're going to look at this. And we can look at it as through the eyes of faith and through the eyes of on the other side of this, there's something important for all of us, for us as a collective, for us as the earth, for us as, human beings. Or you can look at it as the world is doomed and, the economy is going to absolutely collapse. And absolutely are those possibilities, but there's always possibility of surprise. There's always possibility. And I kind of wrote down a little, logic comes from a limited finite structure. It comes from all the things that we know from before. It comes from a very exclusive and rigid and boxed in source of thinking. That's where logic comes from. Logic doesn't include possibility beyond our control, possibility of that we haven't seen or heard of yet. And that happens daily. So when we process from logic and when we process from fear, we're restricting possibility. When we process from faith, we're really tapping into endless opportunities and endless possibilities. And even though you don't know what those are or how that's going to look, it feels a lot better to connect to those more regularly. And the one thing I will say is manifesting is not spiritual bypassing. And spiritual bypassing, if it's not something you've heard of, the New Age community gets a lot of crap about being too positive. You're too positive during this pandemic. You're sugarcoating everything. You're whatever. Here's the thing: is I'm not ruling out, and I would strongly encourage you to not rule out your hard feelings about all the things going on. I would strongly encourage you to tap into the grief and sit with it and process through it and honor it and allow it to be there, allow it to be present, because it's real. There's a loss. There's a loss of community and the feeling of connection right now. There's a loss of jobs for some people, a loss of security for a lot of people, a loss of health for some people, a loss of people for some people. There's a loss of feeling supported and feeling just good. There's a lot of loss right now, and grief is a huge part of what's going on for a lot of people. So when we're talking about manifestation, we're not talking about ignoring real feelings. Honor those, sit with those, spend a night writing it out. Write out how mad you are, how angry you are, how you just started to like get things together and now we're doing this, Get into that emotion, sit with it, do not live there. I wrote in my book that feelings are like a vacation. They're not a permanent place of residence. So you can get into and feel through your emotions and get into that grief or that anger or that sadness without staying there. And then you wake up tomorrow and you say, okay, what am I going to do to make myself feel a little bit better? So we're not spiritually bypassing anything when we're talking about manifestation. I don't want you to pretend like your feelings don't exist. That isn't part of it. But I do want you to think about, what am I feeding? Am I feeding my faith or am I feeding my fear? What am I absorbing myself in? Am I reading article after article about all these losses and this, these conspiracy, oh my God, there's conspiracy theories for days, guys. Am I reading about all these conspiracy theories that are harsh and scary and terrifying? Or am I reading some books on, personal development or listening to a good uplifting podcast or something that makes me laugh in my spare time? So this is all really important. It's not denying your feelings, but it's choosing how long you're staying there. Let's hear a quick word from our sponsor. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. And when I'm talking about manifestation, what I'm really talking about is the ability to change your thoughts into something that is more hopeful, is something that is better, that's something that's not deciding that this current circumstance is going to be your life and your future and everything from here on out. Part of manifestation is looking at the reality right now and saying, no, I think God can do better. I think that the universe can support me. I think I can have more, be more, do more, feel more, be happier, be wealthier, be in a better position in my life. Manifestation is the idea that what you put out, you get back. What thoughts you put out, you get back. And like I said, right now we're waking up a little more anxious. If you're an empath, we're waking up a little more sad. We're waking up a little bit more like not sure what to expect. We're in a really unknown phase, but it doesn't mean that you can't still draw in some magic, that you can't still, yesterday I was talking with my mom, it was her birthday. And one of the symbols of, my grandmother who crossed over is a yellow butterfly. And as I'm talking to my mom, I have not seen butterflies. It's beautiful here, but I haven't seen butterflies in a while. And I'm on the FaceTime and this butterfly comes and lands on the pillow I'm sitting on outside. And I'm trying to flip the FaceTime around so I can show my mom. I'm like, look, it's probably grandma saying hello. So there's no, the universe doesn't cease to exist because the world's in chaos. And the universe doesn't cease to exist when you're in your personal chaos either. And that's the point of manifestation, is that you don't have to look at what is going on as a permanent place to live. This isn't your future. This doesn't have to be what the rest of your life looks like. you can start deciding and getting clear on what is it that I actually want. Okay, I do want to feel secure. Security is important to me. So then we start writing statements, or we start envisioning ourselves and connecting with the emotion of feeling secure. What would that feel like? What is a time? We can always pull up emotions from times where we did feel that. Our memories are so strong and they embody emotions. So whenever you're feeling like, you can actually totally hack your own system. And Tony Robbins is probably the biggest person about changing state. But he talks a lot about being able to pull up a memory from a time where you felt proud of yourself to override doubt, from a time that you felt really happy, because when we're remembering something, it is triggering all the same neural pathways in our brain as though it's currently happening. Our brain is so wild that it doesn't know what's real and what's perceived, which is why if you start going down that pathway of fear, you can get yourself in a whole mess of trouble. You can get your heart beating faster, you can get your breath going, you can have a total panic attack even if there's no real presented fear in front of you, because your brain is powerful and has no clue what is real and what is not real. So you can actually access memories, you can watch movies that feel good, you can pull energy from pretty much anywhere to change your emotional state. But part of what you can do with manifesting during this time period is think about, okay, again, feeling excited about what's to come. I can't wait to have this back. I'm so excited. I'm going to watch some. I've been really missing my silks classes. I do aerial silks, and I've been missing just the community there and how great it is and how much fun it is to do it with other, people around. And so I was thinking the other day, I was driving to drop something off at the post office, and I was in the car, and I was like thinking about driving there, and I felt so excited for the day I get to do that again. And, I think a lot of what the universe is doing right now is forcing us to feel grateful for things. And I'm so grateful for all the things I didn't even know I had. I'm so grateful for all the things I didn't realize I had access to. This is a really good time to start looking at, how am I perceiving this entire thing? How am I perceiving it for me? How am I perceiving it for other people? And you can kind of tap into, man, I took a lot of things for granted. I took a lot of liberties, like just feeling safe at the grocery store for me is one of those. I feel really like uneasy at the grocery store, and like, just any like touching stuff, which I'm not a germaphobe. So this is a weird, feeling for me in general. But just things that you feel like maybe you've taken for granted. What are the things that you are excited to do again, or will feel so grateful to do again? On my Instagram the other day, I told the story. In September, we moved into a house we built, and the closing date got pushed back because somebody forgot to sign something on the end of the broker, and it was a big mess. Well, we timed it so we would have a week to get out of our townhouse, but with the date keep getting pushed back, we found ourselves without a place to live for 2 full weeks. And they kept saying, okay, well, maybe tomorrow, maybe tomorrow. So we kept finding places to crash. And at some point it was like 2 weeks in, and it was just exhausting because, we were sleeping on people's couches or floors or blow up mattresses. And I remember we finally got a hotel, because we're like, whatever, this is probably going to take another however many weeks. We're just going to cave to it a little bit. And I just remember feeling so grateful to sleep on a bed, and so grateful to, just have privacy and have, just a space where I didn't feel like I was imposing on anybody. So there's been a lot of, just even in my personal life, forced gratitude of like, were you taking things for granted that, you didn't even realize were amazing for you? You didn't even realize how lucky you are to have them. So part of manifestation is really connecting with the gratitude of knowing it's coming, of all the things that you already do have, and it's not allowing yourself to dive too deep. Again, you can honor those feelings of lack and scarcity, but try not to dive too deep into them. Try not to stay there. Try to refocus your energy once you're done honoring those emotions to, wouldn't it be nice? That's like one of my favorite phrases to use when I'm manifesting. Wouldn't it be nice? Like, I can't wait for the day that, I get to do this again. And, I can't wait to, My friend Stephanie and I were talking, and we were like, oh, it would be so nice to go dancing right now, or just something fun, or wouldn't it be fun to go to the movies? Like all these little things that we're so excited to open back up and excited for that day. So get clear about what you want. And as you're doing this, I like to do that through writing. I talk about this a lot with my clients of writing down what you want as though it's already happened and that you're just grateful for it and connecting with that feeling. Part of manifesting is really connecting with the feeling of how it feels to do or say, and when you connect with the feeling, you can embody it and it pulls it closer to you energetically. So I feel like, maybe we can all heal the world a little bit right now by envisioning this being over, by envisioning the relief that we're going to feel when it's over, by envisioning people healing miraculously and it leaving as quick as it came, and just envisioning putting, and so I've been trying to put all that out into the world, just putting a little healing vibe out into the world because it's not just about you. So as you're writing, as you're getting clear about what you want, think about what you're feeling called to do. So maybe your intuitive action looks like feeling like you need to post online about something that's important to you, or maybe you feel like your intuitive action. And when I say intuitive action, I mean what we're going to manifest. We're going to put our intentions out there, and then we're going to see what we're called to do. So an intuitive action kind of feels like an idea out of nowhere. So it's like when you're driving and you're like, I have to call, my friend Steph. And so part of intuitive action is just allowing it to happen and taking that action in that particular moment, because that usually leads to something. So if I'm manifesting money and I feel like, oh, I need to connect with my friend Robert and, see what he's up to, and just see, you don't have to force anything. You just follow these little intuitive hits, or, oh, I need to go check out this website, or, oh, I feel called to write this down, or I need to, whatever that push is, that intuitive action is, that's going to be something that's going to drive you to, like, this is how the universe tells you how to get what you want. It gives you intuitive hits. It's kind of like a GPS system that gives you the turn by turn, but you don't pull up the full list of details to see where you're going and see exactly how to get there. You just listen as you go. So part of your work in manifesting right now in this chaos is not just finding gratitude and being clear, but also just getting in alignment with yourself, getting in alignment, doing the things that, you need to do to be your best self. Because when you're in alignment, you can listen to your intuition way better. You don't second guess it, but intuition and intuitive directions always come from nowhere. They feel very random. They don't, aren't typically a led thought. So it's not like I was thinking of, the color purple and how Susie loves the color purple. And I wonder what Susie's doing. And, oh, maybe I should call Susie. It's literally just out of nowhere. I'm, in the garage working out, and suddenly I feel like I need to stop everything and call Susie. So intuitive hits are your actions that will lead you to your manifestations. So it's part of you learning to listen, trust, and follow through with your intuitive directions. So maybe you're wondering, like, how do I get more aligned? How do I hear my intuition better? Basic coping skills are going to neutralize your baseline. And what I mean by that is your energy is either high or low. And you can tell high by good feelings, good thoughts, low by bad feelings, bad thoughts. It's that simple. So when you do something like work out or go for a walk, it neutralizes your baseline. You're not high or low. Maybe it does make you a little bit more high, maybe a little bit more of a good mood or a little bit more of a pleasant thought. But neutralization is really our goal. Is we don't have to be over the moon happy about everything, but just to not be sitting and marinating. And I use the word marinating a lot when it comes to thoughts and energy. What energy and thoughts are you marinating in? Like, if it's, speedy sauce and it's good and, you want it to soak in, if it's something that you like, don't want on you, in you, around you, you have to be thinking about that. And, maybe now's a really good time to look at, what am I absorbing myself? And I went to visit my dad the other day. Well, I went to New York a couple weeks ago, and I was staying with my dad, and He was watching the news nonstop, and I don't personally watch the news, so it was like a lot for me, and I started getting really freaked out about all of the stuff going on. And then when I would, come home at night, he was like watching murder documentaries, and I'm like, I can't. I was just a little edgy that day, but I was like, I can't deal with this. Like, this is way too much negative energy, like flowing in my direction. So think about, what are you like surrounding yourself with? You will become the thoughts, the things, the energy, the ideas that you surround yourself with. So now's a really freaking good time to be intentional about that. Now's a really good time to reset your baseline by practicing some coping skills. Set small goals. Read for 10 minutes a day, a book that feels good to you. I'm reading Crushing by T.D. Jakes. Super good book, religious based, so just keep that in mind. But Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill is on my book. And I just ordered like a fun Josie Silver's book. I don't even remember what it's called, but just fun read too. But read for 10 minutes, create something for 10 minutes, play an instrument, learn an instrument, write for 10 minutes, journal, meditate, work out you could do anything in 10 minutes, and you have to create time to do that. But that's going to help you neutralize. It's going to put you in a position to receive better all these things that you're manifesting, to hear your intuition better, to take the actions that lead to your intuitive, or that are coming from your intuitive hits that lead to your manifestation. So your job is to give yourself time, honor your emotions, but then redirect your energy. How are you going to wake up tomorrow? Clear your energy. Epsom salt bath once a week for 20 minutes is going to help. Meditation. I love binaural beats. I listen to binaural beats in the morning while I write. So that is a frequency that is created for specific moods, energies, healing, all sorts of things you can find binaural beats for. But I always love like just manifesting binaural beats. But anyway, you can find anything that neutralizes your mood, that puts you in a better mental position, that puts you in a better energetic position to do this work. And again, you're not bypassing and ignoring the harsh realities of what's going on, but you're deciding that doesn't have to be your end stop and your end game, and that doesn't have to be how you feel every freaking day. Like, guys, this might be another month or two. There's real possibility that we could be, hanging out in this space for another month. It is your job to control your thoughts. It is your job to manage your energy. It is your job to make your life better for yourself. So be intentional about that. Create a project that's fun for you and your family. Play, have fun, go for walks, get outside, breathe fresh air, all of the above. And make sure to check out my Facebook page or Facebook group, Rock Your Soul 2020, again, for all sorts of discounts on my services and free access to my routines and consistency course. And I post daily, and it's fun in there. We have fun in there, so you want to join. And again, you can purchase sessions on my website, NicoleEaton.com. And if you need anything, just shoot me a DM on any of the above, or you can follow me on Instagram at NicoleEaton.xo. I am sending you all my love and light. Happy manifesting.